Hi Geminis, and welcome to your June 2023 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about your month ahead. I hope you're all doing really well. We are moving into your season. Gemini season of 2023 is a really special period of time. I feel that your season this year will be more activating for you than a few of the previous Gemini seasons that we've had. And I'm looking forward to going into the energy for you all this month. As usual, I will be doing intuitive messages for you, followed by a week-to-week tarot forecast and an extended reading linked below on Patreon. So yes, let's talk about Gemini season 2023, intuitive messages just for your sign. Okay, so there is a bit of a precipice I feel that you have been on that you're not on, okay, after this season. So things that feel really edgy, things that feel really delayed because of procrastination, anything that feels like it's been on an edge or has been kind of just sort of very overwhelming in your life is likely going to be resolved during this Gemini season, and things are going to come out into Cancer season with a better proportion and more of a understanding or resolution of how to move forward. I've talked on Patreon in some of the tea chats this month about how Gemini season of 2023 is very compatible with the Year of the Rabbit energy. I really like this combination of the sign of Gemini and the archetype of the rabbit. In fact, I actually think that this is probably the best time of this entire year, 2023, to step into the natural flow with the natural abundant energy here. So let's talk about what that's going to look like this year. For your sign, I feel that there's so much you don't have to do anymore. Okay, there's so much that you don't have to put yourself through. There's so much turmoil and difficulty and just overbearingness or oversaturation that you don't have to experience. You can have a very positive reduction during this month. Also, you can really step past difficult communications. So if you've been having arguments, if you've been having disagreements with people, if you've had a tension, which is one of the things that is very possible in Year of the Rabbit if the energy is channeling in a negative way. It's constant arguments, constant small level disagreements. These are not huge life-changing things. It's very minor detail oriented argumentative nature that basically expresses itself to remind people how well they are in other areas. So as people kind of perhaps lose it over very small minor issues, it starts to become really apparent to them and everyone else in the story how blessed they are or how well other things are. So yes, that does mean it's kind of a year that needs to grow optimism in the future. The archetype of rabbit is naturally a little bit more pessimistic or receding, reductionist. But Gemini is the opposite. Gemini is expansive and it's optimistic. This is the Gemini-Sagittarius axis. So there's a balance, there's a natural temperance and a natural balance that comes in this month. And I feel that you may need to become more optimistic, or you may need to step into the optimistic part of your character to really choose not to be in some of the places that you were over the last few years. And I feel that this is an important thing for Gemini to think about, is what in my very previous life experience do I not want to come with me? Okay. What in my day-to-day experience do I not want to come with me? June of 2023, Gemini season, even Cancer season, is such a good time for reprogramming what you're participating with in your daily life, changing habits, changing mindsets, choosing not to engage with people that you will just have arguments or disagreements with. So this is definitely a period of time where we think, okay, rather than me trying to argue the point until I make someone believe the way that I do, or until I prove that I'm right, this is definitely a period of time where we say, okay, maybe the argument is not going to get either of us anywhere, and maybe it just shouldn't be happening in the first place. Maybe there are other things to be talked about. Maybe there are other subjects. So choosing to participate in something or not, rather than having these middle of the way kind of conflicted situations, is a great area of growth for this time, as we basically start to understand what possibly can come from certain relationships, whether these are like business, family, love relationships, whatever they are. I think that we get a much better understanding during Gemini season this year about what even can come of this, okay? So not building skyscrapers in the mind, and also then not underestimating what could come of certain things. And this can be something that actually gets very existential for a lot of people. This is also in the tune of Saturn and Pisces that we have right now, which I think that Gemini is one of the signs that can really work with the Saturn and Pisces energy. Again, it's a mutable Saturn and you're a mutable sign. So you have a bit of an understanding of how the general overtone is right now as it relates to the planet Saturn. What this means, what I'm trying to get at here, is that there can be an existential dread that comes in during this time when people finally realize, okay, all of this energy placed into this canister cannot take me from there to where I'm projecting. So people can definitely see like dead ends during this time. People can see the end of a certain path, or also just the pure truth of what certain possibilities within certain commitments are. So taking off the rose-colored glasses, and then also taking off the glasses that are of underestimation as well. So it can really go either way. I think for Gemini, it would be more likely to see that you might be like overly conflating certain paths, or trying to create some type of very creative intersection, which is indicated with Pluto and Aquarius. So for example, trying to merge two paths together, trying to, go from being the baker to the banker. This is something that I always say about Sagittarius, actually, is like having very creative, eccentric path connections. So like the person who's running the bakery trying to become the banker, or the person who is, in the acting industry trying to become the musician, the person who is in the business field trying to like move, I don't know, into like the spiritual field or something. Like these things that like aren't impossible to intersect, and it kind of leads to this like chaos of like, oh my gosh, can I change from this place to that place, and like how do I retain everything? We're gonna see in May as well, but June of 2023 even more. Okay, in order to be where I want to be, I have to stop XYZ. In order to actually honor my growth as a person, it will require XYZ. And we're going to stop telling ourselves stories, okay, about how we need to be 25 different people for 25 different people in order to somehow make these paths merge, or trying to lead like multi-level lives or something. That is indicated, though. So that could also be happening for certain Geminis. Like if you're really like a shooting star right now, you're going to already be ready to like basically step off of a certain path and embrace like the way that you've grown as a person, and kind of willing to cut certain ties. However, if you're in probably like the majority place, it's probably going to still kind of be in a, I don't even want to call it wavering at this point, but it's like, I'm trying to think of real world examples. The person who wants to be an actor, who is booking the acting gigs, but still having to work, the restaurant job to pay the bill. So there's like this kind of like double energetic component where it's like everything is not totally devoted to the goal, but like it is happening and it is manifesting and it is healthy. I think that some of you could be there as well during this time, which is fine and is good. But I also think that maybe more of you than you realize are actually capable of totally devoting yourself to your calling. So something about the calling for Gemini in the month of June 2023 becoming very clear. And then also the detriments to that. So the preventatives, the things that you're like contributing to that might be blocking what you want in the future, is going to be totally clear. It's not going to be like we feel it, but we can't quite articulate it, or we know it in our gut, but we need someone else to validate it for us. We're just going to know, okay? We're going to know what helps us and what harms us at this time. And can you act or create resolution based on that pure knowing or on that pure truth without freaking yourself out and getting all scrambled, or like kind of going into escapist stuff, or, kind of getting lost in a maze of like communication or something, to hold that energy of knowing what is helping and what is harming, and to then decide based on that and to implement or execute based on that is really where the magic is for you guys in your season this year. Let's go ahead and talk about your week to week. Okay, already 10 minutes in. The first week for June 2023, Geminis, you have the 10 of Pentacles rooted down by the 3 of Cups, reaffirming your support network. A lot of you have inherited like a support network, or you have some type of more value than you realize just in your friends or in your natural support network. These are two cards that have been coming up over and over again this year, both the 10 of Pentacles and the 3 of Cups. So it's kind of like networking and having a wealth of connections. And again, we're starting to see that this has been coming up for me intuitively too. Like, it's so much harder to do things totally alone. It's so much harder to like be that independent island, and we need that collaboration, integration, and teamwork. So something of that in the first week. You have like a better teamwork connections, or you have better value in working together with others, or even for some of you dating, or starting to just form new connections, new friendships, and new groups as well. This can also be like a family support network, though. Again, the 10 of Pentacles is about family and ancestry, so you might have like a family reunification or family reunion or something like that during that time. Engagement parties, weddings, things like that could also be. Week 2, the 9 of Wands rooted down by the 5 of Swords. I feel that very strongly. I feel that you kind of perceive, well, some Geminis are perceiving themselves to be in a bit of a zero-sum game. Like, they can't walk away, but they don't want to be there. Or they feel like they just need to keep pushing and do what's familiar. Also, they might be like worried about being reliant or dependent or in a state of need from another person. And that's not always wrong. You need to know, again, who's a help and who's a harm for you. But also it can go into the negative, like by becoming too independent, or by becoming like, I'm never going to rely or depend on anybody ever again. Well, we're not going to get that far either with that type of mindset, because there's always going to be some type of like way that we rely on something in this contractual plane. So, again, what I was talking about, like in your intuitive messages, getting to this place where you have that really refined pineal gland and you can recognize who is like a helpful, honest, pure person in your life, and then who perhaps is maybe using you, okay, with the 5 of Swords. Gemini struggles with this, like because of your optimism or because of your kind nature. A lot of the time people can take advantage of that. And the way that is basically, you see it all the time if you let yourself, but also you have to like remember it, and you have to kind of like document it in your mind that, okay, that person exhibited kind of a, something that feels like it's using me, or something that feels like it's not a mutual relationship. And that can be like, people coming over to your house, using all the amenities of your house, but kind of being annoyed that you're there. Okay, that type of thing. People excited to go out with you when you're footing the bill, but not so excited to go out with you if it doesn't have something like that, or if it's just like meeting up at like a open space or a free space or something. Like, only if there's some type of small advantage. Keep in mind the way that other people have advantages by being around you, and how much they're maybe capitalizing on that. Not all Geminis are struggling with this at all, but I think that it's good to take stock of that, and I also think that it's good to see, what do you get from being around them? Is there any type of like benefit in it for you? It's great if there is. Wonderful. Like, that's the best gift of the 2023 year cycle, is like mutually beneficial relationships that are not based on like money, not based on any type of like major transaction. Okay, so also, relationships that are based on any kind of interaction, right? Need to be seen as more of a contractual relationship here. And we start to see how rare it is and how much of a gift it is to have people who value us for who we are, and not just for the material body or, that which they stand to receive context. And you in the second week are just going to get like a really clear picture. And it's good to reduce and condense down to the people that you do have mutual benefit with, and to allow for a certain filtration process to happen for others. Okay, week number 3, the Hanged Man, rooted down by the Queen of Swords. Deliberation and decision. Okay, for you in the third week as we hit Cancer season. I want you guys... Yeah, this is probably the most important thing I can tell you in this reading. I want you guys to really resolve by that third week of June to know what you do and don't do now, or to have like maybe a better like personal ethic. For some of you, it's totally fine, but like I think that we all, like regardless of sign, could do with a rechecking in of like what our personal ethics are, what I will do, what I won't do, who I will lend money to, who I won't lend money to, who I, what type of, I suppose, like, person that I will defer to, what type of person I won't. Okay. Also, what responsibility I will take on, what responsibility I won't. Knowing our capacity based on, again, this feeling of like what helps and what harms, leading to a new understanding of personal capacity, leading to a new form of personal ethic. Yeah, that's where it's at for you guys. So this is not really physical stuff at all. I mean, it will highly impact your physical world as you implement this, but this is all about, I think, the evolution of a new personal ethic for you, Gemini. I think that you have in this third week to like know that some of these experiences that you've had, especially in the interpersonal realm and then also in the contractual realm, so things relating to like physical goods or ownership or material things in your life, it's important by that third week of June as we hit Cancer season to know that some of that stuff has resolution, or some of that stuff has like a new plane of understanding, and really getting to a point where you don't have like so much conflict, or you don't have as much disagreement with people in your life. So anything that is relating to mutual ownership, collective interests, collective stakeholder situations have to be very carefully worked with from here on out, because I feel like we've had all the time to like really kind of, I don't know, burn our way through egotistically, or to kind of like argue things out, or to, express our agendas for some people, and then for other people just their emotional status. And here a lot of us just have to choose by this third week, Hanged Man and the Queen of Swords. A lot of people just have to choose, okay, I'm not going to keep having that experience with people. I'm not going to keep banging my head against a brick wall for some people. And then you actually start to see a much less difficult path and going with the flow, okay? And then the fourth week of June, the Four of Pentacles reversed, rooted down by the Queen of Cups reversed. There's a need for things to become much more intuitive, and for things to have more of a momentum, rather than like going against momentum, rather than proving how strong you are by pushing that boulder up the mountain by yourself. Things need to have better leverage, okay? Things need to have more support. Things need to no longer put us in these zero-sum games, okay? But anyway, Geminis, I'm going to talk more about this in your extended reading. I'm going to get some more insights for you about your birthday season. I'm going to get some extra cards. If you haven't checked out the Patreon page, come check it out. It's a great value, and you get all these readings with all their extendeds and weekly tea chats as well. So that's linked below, Geminis. Have a wonderful month ahead. Happy birthday to those of you aging up, and let's do this extended. Much love. Bye.